In this video, I will be showing you 7 tips that will help make your iPhone faster, more secure, and battery efficient. When you first take your iPhone out of the box and get it set up, most of the settings that are defaulted are not tweaked to your benefit. Some are just intrusive and allow Apple and their partners to collect more information than you may be willing to give. And other settings are meant to keep you on the hamster wheel with constant to the second notifications. These settings consume battery power and steal some of the performance of the device. And if you're on a fixed data plan, it can consume a ton of the allotted data capacity you have for the month. So let's fix that. So the first thing we're going to do is take care of the Safari tabs. If you don't keep up with your Safari tabs, you may end up in a situation where you have a bunch of them open. I've been there too. At some point, you will end up having tabs open that have been there for more than a year. Really doubt you need those anymore. So you can have the phone close them out after a certain period of time. So if we go to settings and scroll down to Safari and scroll a little bit down and go to close tabs. And there's a couple of settings here. You can have it to manually close them whenever you feel like it. You can actually close them all after a day, a week, or a month. I chose a month. So every day, whenever there's a tab open that's been there for at least a month, it will just automatically close. And you'll only have tabs open for the past 30 days. A lot more manageable. All right, second tip is automatic app downloads, which we can find in Settings, App Store. So if you have more than one iDevice, turn this setting right here off. What this does is if you download an app, let's say on your iPad, it will automatically download on all your other Apple devices. You may not want that for many reasons, data cap, space on iPhone, etc. So turn this off if you don't want that automatically. You can obviously do that manually if you choose. Just go to the App Store and just manually download the app. And while you're at it, disable in-app ratings and reviews. That way you don't get those annoying pop-ups asking you if you like the app or not. Note that I have seen some get around that, but for the most part they're gone. Setting number 3, turn on auto brightness. And this one's a little bit buried. For this one we go to Settings, Accessibility, Display and Text Size, scroll all the way down, and there it is, auto brightness. And then you can just turn this on. I'm not sure why this is buried all the way here. It should be on the main settings, display and brightness, but there it is. But you should turn this setting on because it will save you battery. So note that if you manually adjust the brightness from the control center, you will need to go back here and adjust the toggle for the brightness, because once you make any manual adjustment, it overrides the setting. Tip number 4, turn off push email. And for this one, we will go to Settings, Mail, Accounts, and Fetch New Data. So depending on how you first set up your email, you may have push switched on. With push enabled, your phone is constantly pinging the email server basically every second to check for messages. As you can imagine, this will take a hit on your data, your battery, your performance, all at the same time, since the device is constantly pinging and processing something. If you don't have a need for constant to the second email, you can change this to fetch by turning this off, and all of your accounts will automatically be set to fetch. And down here, you can choose the interval that you want to automatically fetch email. So if you set it to every 15 minutes like it is here, it will check the server once every 15 minutes. Now, if you have more than one account and you want to have granular control, keep this on to push, and you can change each email account individually how you want to retrieve data. Note that if you set these all to fetch and even turn it on to manually, you will get 0 notifications, but the second you open your email application, it will automatically download all the messages. So depending on what your needs are, you may not need to see constant notifications that you got an email or not. As you can imagine, this will save a lot of battery because it doesn't force the connection to constantly ping the server to download new messages. Tip number 5, turn off location services for non-essential apps. And for this one, we're going to go back to Settings. I'm going to go to Privacy and Location Services. So more and more apps today are requesting your location, even when it doesn't make sense. I personally hate having apps track my location, so I turn most of them off. I keep most of them to either or to Ask Me. It saves battery and data since I'm eliminating the constant pinging of the GPS and transmitting my location to the requesting app. If I see them asking me way too often, I start getting suspicious of the app's intentions, and I might even delete it. Just note, if I pick, let's say, one of these apps, if you notice here, there's a toggle for precise location. So if you enable an app, depending on what it is, you may want to turn precise location off. Precise location is basically your location within a few feet. So if you switch this to off, they will only know a general location such as the town or maybe within the neighborhood you are in versus your exact home address. So why you may want to turn this on is you're using something like dark sky that has hyper local weather. You want to know the weather right in the area you're at. You can turn that on, or you can use it for some of the reminders that allow you to have location-based reminders, such as, okay, I'm home, remind me to do this. So the second you get to your house, you get a notification that, hey, remember to take the trash out, for example. So that's where precise location will be enabled. For the most part, you want to be judicious in turning this on. And for the most part, if you switch something to never and you find that it's not working, usually the app will say, we need to have your location turned on, and it will take you right to the settings so you can turn it on. Okay, so tip number 6, background app refresh. And this is a performance, battery, and data killer. Let's get to this by going back to settings. Settings, and we get general, and go to background app refresh. This one is a battery killer. This setting allows apps to keep getting data in the background even if you are not using the app. Some you will want to keep on in order to get notified. For example, a security camera app, since you want to immediately be notified if the camera is triggered for some reason. Along with that, I keep credit card apps so I can get notified if a charge happens. That actually saved me once. You can use calendar apps, that sort of thing, because you want to be notified of a meeting. So you can go through this and decide which apps should be constantly getting data. So I'll explain this on a bonus tip at the end, but don't think this is the same as keeping the app open in the background. That's a different thing. That has nothing to do with this setting. You can have all the apps swiped, closed, and if these are on, the app is still working in the background and still getting the information that it needs. So just so you know, it's not the same thing. Okay, tip number 7, iPhone analytics. So for this one, we're gonna go back to settings, privacy, scroll all the way down and go to analytics and improvements. So this sends a bunch of data about your phone use to Apple to help them improve their product. I don't feel it's my job to help them test their product by using my device and draining my battery, so I turned this off. Plus, it's a privacy issue. Letting Apple know how I use my phone, regardless of how many times they claim it's anonymized. Yeah, right. So turn this one off. And now for the bonus tip. If you are in the habit of doing this and closing every app because if you do this, you think it will save your battery, stop doing that. The only thing you are doing is making your phone work harder the next time you open the app. When you close an app without swipe closing it, Apple puts it in a suspended state, and it has no effect on your battery, your processor, or anything like that. This is where tip number 6 comes into play. The closed app stays in a suspended state in memory, and Apple is very good at managing the memory. So next time you launch the app, it almost shows up instantaneously. If you swipe close it, it then takes an extra second to load the data back into memory, so it will take longer for the app to actually launch. If you want to learn how to enable app tracking transparency to prevent the likes of Facebook from tracking every activity on your phone, check out this video here, or check out the random video the YouTube chooses here. Catch you in the next one.